Okay. Well, thank you, Bruce. It's pretty interesting to know somebody that's your business partner for over 50 years, so trust is certainly a big part of that. As Bruce has said, I've been involved with educational architecture for well over 30 years, and during that time, every once in a while you go through all these high schools, you see these kinds of recognitions going on. That's pretty cool. I have to say that I never thought that I would be up here receiving one of those awards, so today I say really cool. I want to start out by thanking the Ridgewood family. This really is a great honor, and I really do appreciate that. And not only that, I really appreciate the fact that I can come back to work on my school and share some of the talents that our firm has to offer. As I said, I never expected this award, but I thank Bruce and I'm sure Carrie with some urging to make the nomination possible. Getting recognized has never been a goal. In fact, most of the time it's been quite a surprise. Even going back to the glory days of the all-conference recognitions, you know, that's the award that gets you that glamour photograph outside the gym. Recognition is really, it's nice, but it's really the journey that counts. And the humbling part of the journey is that it usually comes with a generous helping of teamwork from family, friends, and colleagues. Teamwork has been critical in virtually every success and has been instilled from a very early age, as Bruce said, from the Little League baseball days. It's further ingrained as you move through high school, through competitive sports, group projects, team teaching and learning experiences, and even giving that dreadful German lecture that I did back in the spring of 1969. My apologies to any of the students that may be there. Mr. Cohn, I don't know how I got an A in that class. I have wonderful memories of Ridgewood, and as I now have the privilege of walking the halls and observing the new construction, it's even more motivating. But reminiscing about the old days is interesting, but particularly while remodeling the library. The same library that I met my wife, Lydia, class of 70. Nobody really knows this, so don't tell anybody, but there's a hidden X in the design of the library at the very spot we met in the book stacks. I'm surprised Cheryl and Bob haven't found that yet, but I'm sure they'll start looking immediately. And I get a very warm feeling about the gym, which really hasn't changed very much. You hope that feeling remains as this and future generations enjoy the field house and all that it has to offer. But the thing about the gym and the very special part of Ridgewood back in the days, and Jeff was so articulate about that, was that they had this thing called individual study. Does anybody remember individual study? Individual study was like recess for me. I loved it. Now, to my basketball coach, Tom Hoder, was an extra hour of perfecting my shot, practicing free throws, and reminding me, don't forget the vocab test I'm going to give you when you're done. I kid about Tom, but as our teacher, he really had our backs and pushed us hard to excel. Now, I always think of myself as a pretty easygoing guy around the office, but one of my favorite management styles was inspired by my history teacher, Mr. Best. Mr. Best never smiled until he was giving a test. He inspired the concept that I instill in my offices today: the flogging will continue until morale improves. And I'm sure my office can attest, as we discuss and socialize at our Friday social hour, that is really not the case, but it is a way to remember the staff. And Mr. Best did not like to lose. He really got upset when I beat him in a game of chess. My advice to the rest of the class: don't play chess when you're in the resource room. There was another person in the resource room that was always inspiring, and that was Carl Gates. He always pushed us to get the most out of our English papers or the interpretation of the book that we were currently reading. I'll have to admit, at the time, I probably didn't think it was such a great idea. But it really did count for something. He inspired us not to settle for a half effort or second best. And back to Tom Hoder. We didn't have the best basketball teams at the time, but he always preached teamwork and pushed us to be the best we could both on and off the court. Now, Tom kept something from me as I was deciding what college I was going to attend. He had already secured a walk-on tryout at the U of I, but it was very clear from the coaches that they didn't think I had a chance to make even the practices, knowing the rigors of an architectural program. So Tom, the teacher who judiciously helped prepare me for college, practiced all those college tests, coached me on vocabulary so I could sound a little bit more intelligent, actually withheld the fact that I had 2 college scholarships to play basketball. It was not until I made up my mind and committed to the University of Illinois in the architecture program that he told me. Well, as much as I love basketball and lived in the gym for every period they would allow me to be there, architecture was number one, and it made it very easy to say thanks but no thanks to a basketball career. However, Tom, wherever you are, and I know you're probably in northern Wisconsin right now, you owe me a considerable amount of tuition money, and I'm coming to collect. The one thing is that he gave us the opportunity and the courage to make our own decisions, and I appreciate that. And that was one of the great things about Ridgewood at the time. The teachers allowed us to make decisions. I am particularly proud of our DLA scholarship. The one thing that Bruce didn't tell you is that its roots actually are here at Ridgewood High. It was very clear after returning the facility a number of years ago that the DLA scholarship was completely my response to my high school experience. I knew I was going to be an architect since I was in 7th grade. The only problem was it took me to my junior year in college to actually put the whole package together. It was sort of like studying history, 1914 to 1935. You didn't think anything else in the world happened. But it was all these things about design and competition and interviews and putting drawings and detailed calculations together and even the extreme overnighters that we had to put together. And I was not prepared, but really enjoyed it and relished it. It was 1968. I was in my 3rd year of shop drawing classes, and quite honestly, I could not draw another crazy bolt, screw, or wedge that we had to do in all of those classes. I was 17. I needed to start my career. It was at a time when I worked hard to convince Don Lund that having an architectural program here would be a great idea. And to his credit, he developed a curriculum over the summer, and we began drawing our dream houses and building models the very next year. I've never publicly thanked him till today, but thank you, Don, very much. He gave me not only my DL monogram, which is always very good, he inspired me a greater interest in architecture. So it is this unique feeling that the scholarship and our way of helping students understand what the journey is about. So thank you very much for all the great years, and I graciously accept this award. Thank you.